All right, guys, welcome back to another week of Behind the Curtains. And we're going to do things a little bit different this time. I've actually got Pete ready to share a quote that we read from the book called Shift that we're currently reading in our book club. And this is going to be a great one, whether you're listening as a real estate agent, whether you're a home buyer, a home seller. This is a great quote, and we're going to kind of just unpack it and have a conversation about this. So without further ado, the quote from the book Shift, written by Gary Keller, is, "All of this has happened before, and it will happen again. What goes up must come down. More importantly, what goes down has always come back up. Home values will most certainly continue their longstanding trend of appreciation over time. And equity buildup through mortgage debt paydown still remains a proven path to financial wealth." So, hope you guys enjoyed my reading of Gary Keller's Shift there. Pete, chime in here, man. What does that quote say to you? How is it speaking to you in this current market that we're in? And, talk to me.
Well, first of all, I hope someone from Audible is listening, because I think you have a future as a narrator through Audible books. You've got the voice for it. So, no, I mean, I think for me, probably, as we take a step back and we kind of evaluate everything that's gone on over the last 6 months, I think it's probably been its most insane. But really over the last 18 months, 2 years, is that there's so much focus on things that I don't want to say they don't matter, but I think what we've realized from our conversation, just even in our book club, is some people look at homes as investments, but most of those people are investors, right? A lot of people, your average American, they're looking for ways to improve their life, whether it be getting a bigger home or a smaller home. And that is ultimately what matters. And I think, to me, the biggest thing is home values will most certainly, what goes up must come down, but more importantly, what goes down has always come back up. So, I mean, that's probably that's what caught my attention the most. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's the long game. If you're looking we've said this several times, if you're looking at the short term, yeah, you've got a lot more to take into consideration. But for me, in my opinion, and the way I advise my buyers and my clients is, if it's improving your life and you can afford the monthly payment and continue to still live a good life, what does it matter?
Yeah, well, and I think that's kind of what we were getting at the other day when we were discussing this, is that we as agents have been guilty of this. The media has been guilty of this, and home buyers and home sellers, everyone got so hooked on talking about low mortgage rates and how quickly the market was escalating. And so the conversation shifted from a lot of, your typical real estate conversation being, instead of it being about how excited someone was to buy a home because what impact it was going to have on their family, or what it was going to mean to sell their home because what that was going to do for their family. It became, we're bundled with fear over how the heck we're going to buy a house. We're bundled with fear over what's going to happen if our house sells too quickly. And we've also become addicted to low interest rates, and guys, they're gone. You're not getting a 2.75 anymore. And I think the other big aha we had the other day was, there's really no sense trying to sit here and look into the magic 8 ball and say, all right, well, I think if you strategically do this over the next 3 to 6 months, this will happen. Because we realized, right? I mean, COVID was the perfect example. Going back to April and May of that year, when we were convinced the market was about to just crash, and instead the exact opposite thing happened, right? We live in a world that it's unpredictable. You look to data, and that's why we're here. We are the, real estate economists of choice. We're always keeping an eye on the data in the background, but to sit here and try and make a decision on what we think is going to happen in the next 6 months, when, to your point, what you said earlier is real estate is a long-term thing, right? You're buying a home, you're selling a home for the impact that it has on your family. And I think our big aha was just getting back to that basic core element. rather than sitting here and, constantly just talking about where's the interest rate at today, and, how quick is the house going to sell? How long can I get a use and occupancy? Like, those are all important things, but we got to remember, it all starts with why. So
100%, man. If you don't have a reason strong enough to do it, it doesn't matter what the rates are and what any of this other stuff is. And, to your point about like the media and, look, there's a lot of new, I don't want to put anybody down, right? And we were all new agents at one point in time, but like there's a lot of new agents in this industry. There's a lot of new, I'm not even just going to say agents. There's a lot of new professionals in all facets of this industry that have jumped in when the market got really hot. There's a lot of media, outlets. There's a lot of misinformation and just panic headlines. Like I shared this. I was in the store and, I walk in and they're talking about a couple is there. They're talking about how, they can't buy a house now because they're not going to pay these prices because they're all going to come crashing back down. And then someone who I don't know if they had any right to be talking about how this person should invest, but is telling them, don't make an extra monthly payment. You should put it in a money market account and like all this crazy stuff. And I'm just standing there like, oh my gosh, this is the information that is getting put out there to everybody. Like, it's just, it's a bit too much. And so when you focus on the interest rates and you focus on all those kinds of things, the appreciation, the depreciation, the potential foreclosures and all these things, you end up spinning yourself out into no action at all. And guess what happened to all those buyers and sellers who wanted to do something last year, but got so freaked out and didn't? Well, now interest rates are higher. Home values, I'd hate to say it, and we don't know, but we're starting to see it plateau a little bit, right? So that crazy rapid appreciation, it's starting to hit the wheels a little bit. We're starting to see homes back on the market, overpricing. So, I mean, you can do all these things that you want to do, right? And I'm almost speaking to the complete opposite point of that we're trying to make here. But you never know. It's the right time is when you're ready, when you need a move in your life, when you're tired of paying rent, when you're tired of cleaning a big house, when you have a kid on the way and you need a bigger house, or any kind of life event that's really going to improve your quality of life. That's when it's the right time, right? People ask, Scott, when is the right time to buy or sell a home? That depends on you and your life and where you're at.
Yeah. And I think that's the core of it. Again, it's, we're going to be here to consult with you, and it's just a matter of whether the time is right for you. There is you mentioned like the housing, starting to seem like things are plateauing a little bit. And yet again, going back to that idea that you, me, literally no one can predict when the market will top out or when a market bottoms out. And it's really all about, again, just realizing that if you told me, Pete, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house because I just want to live in a new house. And, maybe in a couple of years, 2-3 years, I'll probably sell that house and buy another one. I'd be like, do you really have a reason behind that? Because that might not be the smartest thing to do. If you're going to try and play a game where you're jumping in and out of houses every couple of years, just because, probably setting the expectations that like have at it, but I can't say with certainty that you'll make out in the long run. Whereas if you said, Pete, right, hey, we're thinking about having our first kid, we're super excited, we realize the house we're in right now, it's a little bit tight for our needs, especially moving forward, buy that next house. Like, you're not going to regret the decision. It's the happiness that it creates for your family that matters most. The same thing with, hey, Scott, should I be selling my house right now? Have prices topped out? It's irrelevant.
Right.
What matters about why you're thinking about selling? That's what's most important. And I think that's where we had that big aha, that we've really just become so detached from the why and so attached to what's going to happen with the market. Where is the market going? Where are rates going? Should we be worried about inflation? those are all great external factors to take into consideration about how the market is behaving today. It's not necessarily a reason to sit here and build fear into yourself over what the next step looks like, because in the long run, like the quote said, everything that goes up will come down. And when it comes to real estate, it will always trend upwards in the long run. So that's kind of, my way to put a bow on this conversation. Any last thoughts on it?
Yeah, real quick story, right? Because when you said, if you buy to improve the quality of your life based on like a need or something like that, like you're not going to regret it. And I felt like that was a perfect point to make. And it just made me think, one of my best friends, I like their whole family, their Uncle Vinny, right? I was talking to him last week. We were on our way to a wedding or whatever. And I'm sitting next to him and we're talking about the real estate market. And he said, to keep this long story short, he basically said, I bought twice and it was at the wrong time. And he did not regret it, right? I mean, he's still in that house and now he has that appreciation back. And none of it mattered at the time because it got him where he needed to be in life and he was comfortable with the payments. So I just think it just made me think of Uncle Vinny. Shout out to Uncle Vin. Just such a great point. And with that being said, today is a little bit of a bittersweet episode, right? So we've been going at this how many weeks now, Scott?
40 some odd weeks.
44, 45 weeks, I think we're at, something like that. And today we're going to say this is our last episode in this format.
Yeah. But it is not goodbye. It's
very
just see you later, right?
This is just a see you later. So we're in the middle of the spring market, right? And we're realizing that there are some things that we can do to improve the quality of the stuff that we're getting out to you. We're going to be going out in some different formats, different ways of doing it a little bit. We're going to be reaching out to some guests, have some other people come on the show with us.
And you might even get the two of us in one room together, right?
Well, and we got to build up to that.
All options are on the table. So I think this is our call to say, thank you for listening for 40 some odd weeks. We hope you found the content interesting, dynamic, and engaging. And I would put the request out that we will definitely be back, guys. And we want to be back and better than ever. So drop it in the comments, shoot us a DM. Let us know what you want to hear when we do come back. And stay tuned for some teasers on what that new format might look like. So that's my quick shout out. How about you, Pete?
No, that's pretty much it. We're excited for the next chapter. We hope you've enjoyed it. And again, thank you so much for all those who commented, liked, saw us out in the streets and mentioned our videos. It really made us feel good, like we were contributing something to your lives and kind of just trying to get the right information out there. So as always, you can go back and watch these episodes on our YouTube pages. Until next time, later.
It's been fun.